So I am going to talk today for my 3 minutes about a disease that I work with. I work in a lab and I study a disease called malaria. A lot of people have heard of malaria, but most don't know exactly what it is. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what it is, what does it do to us, why is it a problem, and what kind of we're trying to do to eradicate it. So malaria is actually a parasite. That means it's a small little organism, and it enters your blood when you get bitten by a mosquito that has the parasite. And so this means that malaria is kind of anywhere mosquitoes can live. So it's in a lot of tropical regions because mosquitoes thrive there, but it can be in the United States, it can be transmitted pretty much anywhere a mosquito can go. So even here in Boston. And what happens is when the mosquito bites you, a parasite travels from the mosquito's proboscis, like the needle, basically it sticks you with, and it goes into your bloodstream. And then from there, the malaria parasite, can actually infect a lot of individual cells. So we all know that our body is made up of different types of cells, and malaria can infect your liver cells and your blood cells, actually the red blood cells. And by infecting these cells, it actually makes it really hard to treat, because once it's inside a cell, it's a lot harder for your body to recognize it. So that means that once it's inside the red blood cell, it's kind of protected by, and looks just like a normal red blood cell, so the parasite's kind of evading our immune system. And bacteria, for instance, don't necessarily go inside cells, so they can be easier to treat than malaria. And once inside, malaria just basically grows and grows and divides, so you have one parasite will turn into up to 10 or 20, and they just keep dividing that way until the blood cell actually bursts and they're let out, and all those new malaria parasites can infect new cells. And that's really where the problem comes in, is that it can destroy so many red blood cells or liver cells that you can start having problems. It can also cause blood clots and things like that, especially in the brain, and that leads to some really serious infections. So, what are we trying to do about it? The first step is to just know more about the parasites. That's where I come in. I work in a lab where I try to study specific proteins, which are kind of like little machines made by cells that carry out processes. And the malaria parasite makes a lot of proteins that we're investigating, what they do in the cell. And it also uses some of our proteins that we have in our cells to kind of shield and kind of infect cells, so that my goal is basically to learn more about how it infects cells, what proteins does it use, and if these proteins are really important, they might be good drug targets. So that's kind of the second step. Once we know about the cell, we can identify what's important, and then other people, notably chemists and biochemists, can start creating drugs that will block these proteins from functioning, so that the little machines making the cell go, making the malaria parasite go,